been a few weeks since the hit NBC show Biggest Loser wrapped up its 15th season, but how was life changed for runner-up David Brown, who lost an incredible 222 pounds on the show? Well, let's ask him. Joining us now is David himself. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Man, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be with you guys.
You are so cool. You're such an inspiration. It's such a pleasure and an honor to talk with you. Now, I followed the show. Many of us here at the station obviously have followed you and your journey. But if you could just let everyone know, why did you audition for The Biggest Loser, the 15th season?
You know, the big wake-up call for me happened a year ago last fall when I found out that I had type 2 diabetes. It was a stage of my life where I was like at that turning point. I had 3 young girls that I really needed to be there for. I had a lot of issues that were health issues regarding my obesity, and then the type 2 diabetes kind of came in and hit me, blindsided me a little bit. So I really started to put into practice some of those physical things I needed to do before I got to the ranch. I actually lost, most people don't know this, I was actually almost 450 pounds when I started this journey. And so I had lost about 40 pounds, hit a plateau, and in the past, like that plateau would have yo-yoed me back the other way like it had so many times before. And so I was scared, and I knew I had to do something radical, something different than I had ever done before. Biggest Loser came calling at the right time. I went to the open call, and even though I had to wait in line for 4 hours and thought it was a big waste of time, one thing led to the next, and you found me on the show.
And your life will never be the same. And that season 15, was all about second chances. You were given this second chance. What does that mean to you and your family?
I tell you what, just the whole thing has been so transformational to be given a second chance. One of the things I want people to understand is like they have an opportunity for a second chance, whether a Biggest Loser comes calling or not. That's one of the things I had to learn, is that I was worthy of a second chance. I didn't realize how sick I had gotten, mentally, emotionally, physically. Obviously, that's the obvious sickness, but like it affects so many areas of your life. Like I didn't even realize how many things that affected. I was lucky that I got chosen for the show, and it's like this, I'm being rehabilitated, honestly, through that whole process. And yes, you see the physical transformation and the 220 pounds lost, and I don't want to underestimate that, but the healing that happened to me through that process, getting in touch with the root reason why I was even in that situation in the first place, that's where the real weight came in with me, was that emotional side, and that's where I got the biggest healing and really the biggest transformation.
Isn't that amazing? And it was a really special moment when your daughters and your wife saw you for the first time. That was really so touching and so genuine. I think every viewer can really relate to you and just felt for you. Everyone fell in love with you, David, really. You're just such a great person. Now let's talk about your journey on the show. Dalvet hand-picked you. He hand-selected you. What was it like working with him?
I look at all of the trainers, and they're so incredible and they're world class, but their styles are so different from each other. And what I was lucky in the fact that Dalvet chose me, because he's the perfect complement for who I am and kind of where I'm coming from. And so his style of being a coach, like he'd get up and he'd be like, "Can you give it to me today, David?" And he'd kind of give me that coach speak, and like that took me back to my football days in high school. I was like, yes, I can do that, coach, let's go, And so it was like the perfect fit for me, and Dalvet has become a great friend, and we're friends for life. I owe a lot to him and his belief in me when I didn't believe in myself.
That's so powerful, their belief in you. Now, obviously, you've made friends. Do you think these are going to be lifelong friends that you made, for whether it be the contestants or the trainers?
Without a doubt. In fact, one of the guys up there in your neck of the woods, Matt Hooper, has become one of my best friends. And these are people that we've all got a shared experience that very few people have. We all went there with the same intention, to get our life back, to take advantage of this second chance, to find our health again. And so we have that common language, the common experience, and we have the perfect support system for each other because we went through that together. So we're a family. You saw that play out on the show throughout those 15 weeks, and I promise you we're that kind of family unit after the show.
That's very cool, and it's really cool to hear it from you firsthand. And you are an inspiration, and you have a lot to offer people. And now you're offering free tips and inspiration through texts. And
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? Tell us about your campaign.
One of the things that I learned on the ranch was the power of a step. I said it in the finale that Allison asked me where was the winning step along the way, and I said it's not here at the finale where the confetti is going to fall. The winning step was the first step, and I think for so many people, like, we're scared of taking that first step because we assume we're not good enough, or we're not going to make the lasting change, or that we can't do something. And so this whole process for me was about being one day at a time, one exercise at a time, one decision at a time. Over the course of the 15 weeks on the ranch and the 9-month period that the show happened, I logged more than 2.2 million steps. Well, if you would have told me that's what it would have taken in the beginning, I would have said that mountain is too big. There's no way I can do that. Like, send me home right now. I can't do it. But it's the one step at a time. And so when I come out of this with the One Stronger message, and it's about hope, healing, and health, and it's a journey of those one steps at a time. And so those are the things I want to be able to share with people going forward. I've got a free text service. I won't kill you with text. It's like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I'll just give you inspirational things I learned from the ranch, tips, tricks, nutritional information. I just want to be able to share with people. I feel this overwhelming responsibility, and the love and support that people have shown me and the inspiration that they've drawn from me. Like, I want to give back. I want to help people get out of the place that I was at 9 months ago. I was stuck. I was sick. I needed help. And I want to be able to provide some of that help. So if people want to get involved in that, they can type One Stronger, the number One Stronger, and text that to 44622, and that'll get you part of the text service that I'll go ahead and send those tips to you.
I can't wait to get your text messages, David. And you are paying it forward, and it's so, I can sense your passion, and I appreciate that you're doing that, because you are really just, I admire you so much. Let's talk about when you left the ranch before the big finale. You went home. How did you stay with it? I mean, you had to work out, you had to eat right, but you're not at the ranch anymore. You're at home. What was that like? How did you stay on board?
That's so perfect, because 100% of your audience is going to be at home doing this. And so, like, that's the biggest part. Is I was in a bubble at the ranch. Everything's controlled environment. I'm working out. I don't have the distractions and the noise that you have in your normal everyday life. So when I come home, I have to take all of these things I've learned over the course of 3 and 4 months, and I have to now employ it into my lifestyle. And that's the key going forward. Now, I did have a finish line. I was a finalist, so I knew I had to show up at the finale having worked every day, to the finale. And so I set up the boundaries. I said no to good things so that I could say yes to the finish line, the great things. And it's those boundaries that, you have to set up in your life to be successful. You have to put yourself first. I'm only able to give out of what I've received for myself. I've received help now. I've received all of the education that you need to be successful in this, and that's why I can now give it. Well, some people, like, all you need to do right now is to set up that first step. And for you, it's taking and setting your schedule aside and saying, here's me time. Here's how I'm going to build myself up. Set that aside, because you're a priority. And most people don't act that way. They act like their schedule dictates who they are, and they're responsive to life and all of the things that life demands, but they are not interactive and intentional with their life. You put you on the calendar first, and then fill around it with the other activities that you're involved in, and watch what happens when you get your health back.
That's amazing advice, and we're out of time, and I want to thank you for your time, David. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy life and your you time to talk with us. But just some last words. How has life changed for you? Anything you want to share, just to kind of leave it on that positive note?
You know what? I think the biggest way my life has changed is that I've got this incredible life message of overcoming as hard as life can get, and coming to a place where you can find total health through a little hope, a lot of healing, and then ultimate health. And I think so many people miss a piece of that puzzle and they can't find it. I want to give this forward for the rest of my life. That's my message going forward. I've got the opportunity to speak around the country now. I'm going to be doing motivational speaking for companies and for different organizations. And so, you know what? I hope to be in your neck of the woods speaking to people just wherever I can to help share that message.
I know that all of us here, our whole crew, we would definitely come to listen to you. And David, I know you've been through a lot, you've struggled, and you've had a lot of hardship in your life, but I hope that you know now what a difference you're making in people's lives. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you certainly are changing other people's lives. So thank you for everything and for your time today. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on all you've accomplished.
For your bump.
You're wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And for even more inspiration and tips from David, you can text 1 STRONGER to 44622.